Hi, Bernth here. Welcome back to my Q&A series, where I take time to answer all your questions concerning technique, theory, gear and many more topics. Leave a comment or send me a message if you have any questions yourself. This week I'd like to answer two questions, one about a special accessory and one about tapping. I got a message on Instagram this week. It was about the thing I sometimes have on my guitar here. What is that and when or why do you use it? Some people already know this cool accessory. It's a fret wrap from GruvGear. It's essentially a string damper that helps to cut overtones and sympathetic resonance when you play. I mostly use it when I record, especially for tapping sections. You should be able to play as clean as possible without a fret wrap, of course, since it's tricky to slide it on and off in a live situation. You can't really use your open strings when you have the fret wrap in use. Here's a cool clean tapping section that I explain in my soon-to-be released online course 10 Steps to Modern Shredding. A perfect example where a fret wrap would come in very handy. As you see, all notes are clearly articulated and there is no unwanted noise coming from the other strings while I'm tapping. But you should be able to pull that off without a fret wrap too. It's just a cool accessory to deliver the perfect take in the studio in the shortest amount of time possible. The last question for today was asked by one of my guitar students. It's also related to tapping. He basically started out with the typical small arpeggio to learn the technique, tapping E on the high E string, pulling off to A and hammering onto C. All the notes we have in an A minor chord. That's the typical way to get started with the technique. Now that he worked on it, he asked me how do I know which other notes I can tap with my right hand. Since we know that we are working with a basic A minor arpeggio here, we could for example either pick notes from the A minor pentatonic scale or the A minor scale across the fretboard. That's the thing I really recommend to learn. Spend some time every day to memorize these two scales in all positions. It will help you immensely with all other scales, for example with the modes. For the minor modes Dorian and Phrygian, we only have to alter one note from the minor scale. That means you don't have to learn a completely new scale all across the fretboard, you only have to change one note in every octave in all these positions. Once you learned the scale, it will be easy for you to visualize which notes you could add by tapping. You could either pick the scale that's right next to the one you are playing with your left hand, or use the advantage of playing with two hands and stretch them out further. Search for a graphic of the A minor scale across the fretboard as an exercise. Learn the positions and try it out yourself. That's it for this week. Send me a message or leave a comment and I will feature your question in the next episodes. It could also be related to technique, theory, gear or your career as a guitar player, for example. Thanks for watching and see you soon.